All right, let's get to our next guest. Very excited to talk to this gentleman. Let's bring him right in. And he's dressed for the occasion. I think I can make us a little bit bigger. There he is, Mr. Lew Temple. Hi, Lew.
Hey Ray, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm told your show is high end, so I wanted to,
High end.
I
Yes, that's what this
wanted.
spells in Greek.
Uh, hey, speaking of, not to lead, but so you have the Massachusetts Legends, or is it Boston Legends?
New England Legends. So it
Thank you.
spans all the states. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to lead with New England Legends, something that's always struck a chord with me from my childhood, as a matter of fact, even though
Okay.
it's much older than me. Uh, there was a baseball player in 1955 who played for the Boston Red Sox by the name of Harry Aganis. Harry Aganis was known as the Golden Greek. He was from Lynn, Massachusetts. Harry went to Boston University, I believe. He was an All-American. He was a teen idol. And he was going to be the Boston Red Sox Mickey Mantle. And he was touted very highly. And for the East Coast of the nation, he was kind of a boy's dream. That's who he
Yeah.
wanted to be. And he got leukemia and died that year.
Oh,
And
wow.
everybody on that, I read a whole book about this. It
Yeah.
was kind of the day for that generation that they understood mortality. And so he's a
Wow.
bit of a New England legend. The
Well, I'll
Golden
have to look
Greek,
him up.
Harry Aganis from Lynn, Massachusetts, 1 year, 1955, with the Boston Red Sox Rookie of the Year. And things didn't go well for the Red Sox ever since until your 2004 group. But
Yeah.
thanks for having me. I enjoyed the cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
I enjoyed boozing with Bob, and that sidecar looks delicious. I'm doing. I noticed he was using Bullet bourbon. That's what I'm doing on the rocks tonight. And but bacon bourbon, bacon's one of man's great inventions. That and air conditioning.
As is bourbon. So the pairing is amazing. Are you
Yeah,
a obviously you're a bourbon guy, you're drinking Bullet. That's a great choice.
I like
Um,
Bullet. Yeah.
what else do you like?
Oh, I like to keep it really simple, but so I like Maker's Mark. I
Oh,
I
yeah.
can I can go to, but obviously a Pappy Van Winkle. I mean, I'm not proud. I'll drink anybody's bourbon. I would throw down with some bacon bourbon. I
I
like
love
bacon.
trying everything. I have a bourbon that's in like a tin can. It looks like an oil can. And I talked to an expert a couple weeks ago and I showed him and all he did was laugh because it was like a $15, thing of bourbon.
Is there a Boston bourbon?
There is a distillery called Bully Boy,
Okay.
and I do believe they make a bourbon as well, but they have a whole line of spirits.
So uh let's do a fact check. Maybe I think you just talked with someone in Kentucky,
Yeah.
a friend of yours on Facebook. Maybe they're still out there. But if it's not made in Kentucky, is it actually bourbon, or did they change that rule?
Would would you allow Tennessee to be a part of
Ah,
that?
yeah, no, Tennessee's whiskey for me, I think.
Really? Okay, because I enjoy um
I
obviously
think
Jack
I
Daniels.
think that bourbon, Kentucky may actually have a copyright on bourbon.
Oh, really?
Now,
For
when we
real?
say that, it could even be to the point of spelling the way you could. So maybe Bully Bourbon doesn't spell it conventionally, but
I know we have a distillery back home here that can't use the word tequila, so they had to come up with a fancy word for their tequila. I had no idea that was trademarked in some way, but they couldn't
yeah.
use tequila.
What's their fancy word?
It's Glen Farmer Distillery, and I think they call it Glenkeela, or I'm
Okay,
totally wrong, but it's a play on their name,
we should
and they had
all
to do
get.
that for legal reasons.
Yeah, those are big issues. When you get into things like legislation.
Mm,
So, like alcohol and tobacco's, like, yeah, you guys can have the bourbon, but we're not legalizing marijuana. So Kentucky's kind of in a rock and a hard spot as that goes. So it is interesting. Yeah.
Well, we legalized it up here not too long ago, and everything changed. And it's funny when you talk about it, it's not so hush hush anymore.
Right.
It's and I look back and our kids will laugh at the way we treated marijuana in
Yeah.
10, 20 years because it's just going to be an over the counter thing, much like alcohol.
Yeah. It's not, or how, well, so here in Los Angeles, California, we're pretty far down the road with it. So you're going to come into, for instance, parking garages with your kids, and you're going to smell it,
Yeah.
and then kind of look around and you smell that, and your kids know exactly what it is. Yeah, Dad, someone's smoking dope.
That's fun. I have a son who's in LA right now, and he is working at a distillery. I don't know. I mean, what do you call it?
Dispensary.
Dispensary. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one, but he does say it's one. He said it's one of the top dispensaries in LA.
Yeah,
But
man,
it's nothing to him. He's 24 years old. Nothing to him.
no, except it's a job, and whoever's behind that is had to pay a lot of money to have that license, but they're probably making a fair share, and I'm sure it's very federally regulated. But this isn't what we want to talk about on Friday. Is the government? I've dropped government on us like 3 times. I apologize.
My wife reminding me to stay away from Maker's Mark. That was probably the one time I ever blacked out.
Wow.
Was Maker's Mark. So she's right. I will give her that. She's absolutely right.
And clearly it was Maker's Mark's fault. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, they should have a label, something on the bottle, a label warning us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure that wouldn't have happened if they were serving Jack Daniels that night.
Right, exactly. Just a couple other messages. Jay is one of the guys that was with us on Distracted Driving in that photo that I showed earlier.
We had so much fun. I think I might have been dressed pretty nice in that photo, I'm guessing, because I do, and I had something earlier today that I sort of dressed for, so I'm just playing through. But yeah, I like to dress.
Well, you look fantastic. And then the other guy, Tim,
I don't have cool T-shirts like you.
Well, this was from my daughter for Christmas, so I have to wear it, but I like things like that. The other guy in the Distracted Driving threesome was Tim, our photographer friend, and he said Lew is unstoppable.
That is, I am unstoppable. I'm unstoppable.
Yes. And I do want to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But hold on one sec. We have a confirmation about bourbon. Bourbon can be made anywhere, but it cannot be labeled as bourbon unless it's made in the state of Kentucky. It can't be labeled.
Okay.
As in Jack Daniel's Sour Mash whiskey made in Tennessee, it's technically bourbon in every way except where it was produced.
That is
so. There you go.
That's great. That's what you do, Ray. You provide the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're cracking down on the truth about whiskey and bourbon, and there we go.
It is Friday. It is happy hour.
It is. What do you do on the weekends, Lew? What's your weekends like? And I know it's been a weird year.
Yeah, they're very similar to my Mondays, which is a whole lot of nothing. On weekends, I like to act like we used to, like we're working for the weekend. I think there was a song like that. And I like to pretend that I have worked all week. As an actor, there's a lot of downtime, and one day is the next weekend, as it turns out. So the alternative for that is that my daughter is out of school, so maybe we get to do some things
nice,
full on, go for a hike or go see the ocean, the beach, or what's great about Southern California, we can literally drop into the beach in the morning and then go ski later in the afternoon up in the mountains. With snow, we can do the old surf and ski thing, which is unique, I think, for your beach would be cold. It would be cold in the Cape right now.
It would be very cold, but we do have that luxury to go to the mountains, go to the beach, go to New York City, everything, and especially being in central Massachusetts. Yeah. Everything is we're right in the center of everything.
How far? So where are you? And you're Milford. Where's Milford in Mass? Is that over near Amherst?
No, we're almost at the border of Rhode Island. So we're central southern
Okay.
Massachusetts. And Woonsocket is the next town, or a
Gotcha.
couple towns down, and that is in Rhode Island. So we're pretty
Gotcha.
close to the border.
So the Berkshires and whatnot, that's
Western
northwestern.
Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a couple hours drive for us, maybe an hour and a half.
A very
Boston is 45 minutes.
really pretty over there.
Yeah, it's great. New England's fantastic. And
How far are you from Worcester?
Worcester. Yeah. Well,
Worcester.
I grew up around Worcester, but we're only 40 minutes. We have
Yeah.
the Pawtucket Paw Sox are moving to Worcester. They are now the Woo Sox.
The Woo Sox.
Yeah, so that's very
Worcester's
exciting.
a pretty great town, I have to say. I like it.
It's tried so hard. I got to give it that. Back in the day, they had the movie theaters, they had the shopping mall,
Right.
and then it deteriorated a little bit. We had a major concert venue with the Centrum where everybody would go.
I remember.
And then, yeah, the Centrum was the place, other than the Boston Garden, but we only had a few big acts go there. So Worcester was the place to go, and then it had its recession and didn't do so well. But now we're bringing in a new stadium. They built a stadium just for the Woo Sox.
Love that.
And yeah, the area around that is really rising with restaurants, and it's flourishing. It's great. And who knows? Maybe Worcester will have a new day in the sun.
I'm counting on it. Speaking of days in the sun, there is this guy on Sunday that's looking to have another day.
Yeah.
He's had a little Boston hero worshiping.
Yeah.
I've got to believe that you could help me out with this.
Yeah.
Most Massachusetts are pulling for Tom Brady or pulling against him.
We're very finicky here in New England, as you probably know. Most people that love sports hate us because of the success of our teams. We'll turn on our own teams very quickly. I think when he first left, it was good riddance. Get out of here. Right. We're going to have a great year. We didn't have a good year. I think many of us calmed down a bit and thought, you know what? He gave us so much joy in the last 20 years or so. So let's give it back. And I think we're okay with him going to the Super Bowl now. Now we're just rooting for him.
Yeah, I mean, you got some association at the very least.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wasn't the one that fired him. He didn't leave me.
Were you guys the same way? Were y'all the same way for, say, Mookie Betts this past year in the World Series?
Yeah. I don't think, yeah, we were back and forth with Mookie, I think. It's weird. I try not to get into the drama of sports because at the next day, I still have to get up and go to work, whether my team wins or loses.
Kind of that's the Massachusetts way, actually, is sort of the getting up and getting it done, right?
Absolutely. So if somebody leaves, it stings for a little while. We ran Nomar out of Fenway. I mean, the press hated him, and he couldn't take it anymore, so he left years ago, obviously. But it's weird around here.
Right.
When you've suffered and then you've celebrated, like we had so much suffering, and then all of a sudden we had so much celebrating. I don't know if we know actually where we are emotionally.
High and low.
That's it. The highs and the lows.
Either way, as my experience has been, however you are emotionally, you're going to wear it on your sleeve.
Absolutely, yeah.
Trademark of a Massachusetts person is they're going to let you know.
That's right. So who's your team?
Well, I'm New Orleans, so Saints, and I like the Atlanta Braves very much. Interesting. I've just always been a Braves fan, other than my time in baseball when I was with Houston. I've left my affinity for the Astros based on all their shenanigans, I suppose, in recent times, which carried over to you with Cora, who's back now. He's back. He's okay. He's going to be great. I let the Houston thing go a little bit, but still Atlanta, I'm pretty happy with them, and they've had a good run. They've got a good young team, and I think the Saints are, okay. Kind of like Brady, Drew Brees is, this veteran guy that I like getting behind. So
I don't think I knew this, but the Saints defense coordinator is from Medway, which is in our viewing area right here.
dang,
Yeah.
Medway, that's a town I've never heard of.
Medway, Mass, right next to Milford, Mass, and we've got a cluster of towns you probably have never heard of here. But
I've been to some because when I was in college, I used to come up and play baseball in the Cape, in Cape Cod.
oh, the Cape League.
Yeah. And
Oh, that's huge.
and I've had a lot of friends, teammates, and guys that I played with and against that were from Massachusetts, like Saugus or
Yep.
Nahant or like Braintree, uh,
Braintree, yeah.
really strange places. Southie.
South, yeah.
I used to hang out on Fifth and P over by Castle Island. Um,
Wow.
so I kind of know a little bit of it, and I've always enjoyed my time in Massachusetts. Also, friends up in the Berkshire area, like Great Barrington
Yep.
and Amherst, and so I've always had a love for Massachusetts and a lot of friends. So I get it. I get
Well,
it.
you got more friends here now. I know a lot of people were excited that you were coming on.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's been a few years since we did.
Yeah.
It was since we did the driving in cars. No, you don't
You
do that anymore.
No, no, no. I do this now. Still
Is that because you can't drink and drive legally? Is it better?
yes, well, that's part of it, but luckily the guy that drove Tim, he doesn't drink. So it was
Ah,
just Jay and
right.
myself that would partake. But I don't know why it ended. It just kind of it ran its course. We did a couple specials and then we did some Zooms during the pandemic and then this kind of happened. But we had a lot of fun doing that. And you were one of the few guests we had on because doing the phone through the stereo was hard to coordinate. Uh,
I
you
bet.
were you were promoting Walking Dead at the time.
Yes, yeah, that was something that was a huge event in my life, and still is. It's kind of the gift that keeps on giving because it has been such a popular show that you are always part of it, and I'm grateful for that, and I appreciate the audience. I think that they're so supportive, and you can't help but be thankful to be part of something like that, which has continued on, but is nearing the
It still
end.
continues. Yeah, it's getting
Yeah,
close.
yeah,
You were in season three, what, 7, 8 episodes, I believe?
yeah. Eight
Eight
episodes,
episodes.
and I think actually it's hard to. There's an episode they talked a lot about me, but I never actually showed up. So I was there, un, unseen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. I like to think that was, you're biased because you think, oh, ours was the best season. Ours maybe was, or maybe it wasn't, but it was the best season for me. And it was a time when the show was still growing, and it was built around all roads leading to the sheriff, to Rick Grimes. Uh, and then the show grew and it splintered off to all these other storylines and other
Yeah.
characters' stories, and it kind of evolved and expanded, and I think it diverted some of the focus, let's say. So I liked that we were just dealing with Andrew Lincoln's character, and
Well, and we were introduced to Negan as well, and that was a pivotal part of the storyline that continued right up until today
yeah,
was that attack. And I think as far as setting goes too, the prison setting is one of the most memorable settings from the whole series.
I felt like it represented. They had been the season before at Herschel's farm, which was great, but it wasn't very visceral. It wasn't very active. A lot of campfire scenes, a lot of hanging out at the old farm. And
Yeah.
so when they broke away and they got into some new environments, and maybe this can be a sanctuary, this prison, and hey, that's a great idea. We can keep people out. And then they come across these prisoners, which are new people, fresh blood, and the audience, I think, was definitely aware that we were coming, but also anticipating we were going to be there and excited about that. So there's a lot of excitement. And then it wasn't long after that the world started opening up, and you've got the governor, and then it just keeps going from there, and of course,
Yeah.
as it would with society. So
I think your character still, and not just because I'm talking to you right now, I've believed this from season 3 when it happened right up until today. You have one of the most shocking death scenes, and I'm not. It's been on long enough. I'm not giving any spoilers here.
yeah,
You have one of the most shocking death scenes I have ever seen, besides the baseball bat, because we only thought one character was getting it, two
right.
got it, so that was pretty shocking. But what happened to you? I was that one of the only episodes that had no music at the end. It was just
Yeah, it you know when they let me know, or they come to you and let you know, hey, sorry, you drew the short straw and the governor's coming, he's got to draw blood, so you're committed to doing a good job for your character. The first thing you do is deny. You try and figure out for production, let's think of something different, let's try to and you do what I call the denial dance, and then you commit to it. And they had asked me at that point, would you like to come to the writers room and sort of have participate in building it? And I'm like, nah, because they're great, they'll figure it out, it's good. I just asked, maybe we can make it shocking. And I offered, then they asked me, this is production, producers, and the writers and such, would you like to reanimate as a walker? And I was like, no, hell no. A lot of makeup, a lot of effort there.
no time for that.
Yeah, I'm not into that. What? And then now Carl's going to come out with his little pistol and his hat, and he's going to put me down and steal my mustache to impress Beth. No, I'm good. So just shoot me in the head. And what I remember from that, I think is it the Zapruder tapes of the Kennedy assassination.
Oh, yeah.
And what how shocking that was to see him shot in the head, and it always kind of struck me as so final. And so I wanted something like that for Axel. And then the key is to not indicate that it was coming by, kind of having a happy day with Carol and making
it was such a tender moment. It really was. And I remember thinking before it, this is where he kisses her. This is where they hook up. And Carol is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah,
and I've always had a crush on her.
Yeah.
As far as the ladies of Walking Dead go.
Yeah.
Even still to this day. So I'm happy that she found somebody. And Axel's a good guy. You're a prisoner, but you're a good guy.
Yeah. Second chance, man.
And then just boom. It was amazing.
And so that was the work of the day. It was like 2 days we worked on that, was to not indicate that it was coming and to make the payoff, that gut punch, really land, which I'm really proud that I feel like we did. And then some things happened organically in that moment that I think we hadn't really counted on or rehearsed. But in my mind, I wanted my blood to be on her hands. So I wanted her to have to deal with it, as opposed to just getting shot and falling to a heap on the ground. I, in the moment, realized if I just fall on her and all my weight and all my world just comes on her, she's going to have to deal with it. She has to throw me down. She has to hold me. She has to push, and I'm literally dead weight. I totally dead weighted it. So it actually took her down, which in the end became a good move, because she had to get down because there's fire going on all over, incoming fire, and use me actually as a shield, as a sandbag to get cover from. So that was really interesting, I thought, and worked out good. And I feel maybe in some small part I helped to save Carol's life there. Who knows?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you watch it now and wonder if you was still alive, like how would Axel handle that situation?
I don't know that I would have made it through the Negan era with the survivors. I feel like I would have. Axel was definitely a peacemaker. He's definitely somebody that's like, let's try and talk this out. Let's come up with a better solution than the violence. to a point, but I'm not sure he would have knelt down and accepted. He might have sacrificed himself, which I guess Daryl kind of tried to do that, and it backfired on Daryl.
Right.
I think that infuriated Negan to take one more out. Abraham and Glenn, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Axel, but I think he would have been definitely a side with the survivors going up against the governor into Terminus. I think he would have always been with Rick and Carol and the group. And Herschel, I felt like he was going to be a good friend with Herschel. Two guys remembering and reflecting back on the world that was and trying to figure out the world it has become, and literally No Country for Old Men. And so that was interesting.
Yeah, I think it was an amazing character that will go down in Walking Dead history for sure.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And I think that when I went to The Walking Dead as Axel, my objective was really to say all the things that the audience was thinking. You must be a lesbian because you got the short the short hair, and
then that changed like that. So I'm not a lesbian. Oh, well then.
my. Now this is interesting. And
that was great.
And again, Melissa McBride, who plays Carol, was so good at her reaction to that. That's actually what makes the scene.
Well, because she was interested as well. Yeah.
Yeah, in her reaction. So I wanted Axel to wear, like someone from Massachusetts, wear his heart on his sleeve. And he was just always looking for a friend, trying to fit in, which is not easy when you're in prison.
Right. Lou, we only have a couple minutes left. I have Matthew Steinberg coming up next from Exhibit A Brewing. And
cool. Great.
Yeah, a great local brewery here. And then we're going to have a nightcap with Jay. But I do want to ask you, because one of my other top, it's in the top 30 movies. I love Tony Scott, and Tony Scott is probably, his movies are probably in my top. He's probably got 4 or 5 in my top.
What's
30.
your favorite? Mine's Man on Fire.
Man on Fire is amazing. Crimson Tide would be mine.
Yeah, great.
But there's so many to choose from. True Romance, even going way back, Days of Thunder, Top Gun, Days of Thunder. Just his visuals are amazing.
They are.
So you worked with him on his last directing project, which was Unstoppable.
Right.
A great movie with Denzel Washington and Chris Pine. And I love the character.
Ned.
I think everybody knows a Ned.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, he's lovable, but it's also the guy at the office that knows everything. And it's, he's the first to
felt a little of that glow from the spotlight, and take it over and take all the credit. And for sure,
it's a fun character. I really enjoyed it. It was almost the comic relief.
Absolutely. And a little bit, he got to be the hero in the cavalry a little bit, because he shows up at the end. So the challenge there was to land him with such bravado and braggart in the front of it that you would remember him. So and then bury him a little in the middle of the movie, and then in the end, when he shows up in the red truck, jump in, you pussy. Oh, there's that guy. Here, that guy.
Who you didn't think was going to do anything at the beginning. It was just going to be one of those blowhards that doesn't get the job done, but you did.
It was such a gift, and Tony really let me play the entire arc, and it was such a delight working with Tony. I had done 3 movies with Tony, which is a lot. Denzel's done a couple more than me, but I did Domino for Tony, and also Deja Vu, and then of course Unstoppable, where we were in the Northeast, up in the Rust Belt in Pennsylvania, and it was just incredible. It was a great experience, and working with Denzel's an acting lesson, and Chris Pine is such a delight. So it was fun. And that movie's playing a lot. It still holds up. It's really a great on the edge of your seat action.
Oh yeah. Well, I saw it not too long ago. I'd watched it when it first came out, obviously, but I rewatched it a couple months ago. And then, of course, I had to watch Domino again. Anything Tony Scott, once it's on
Yeah,
my radar, I just
yeah.
have to I have to dive down that rabbit hole. But
You know another director I work with that is from Massachusetts? Is there a Haverhill, Massachusetts?
Haverhill.
Haverhill, Rob
Yeah.
Zombie.
Yeah, that's right. Rob is from Haverhill. Oh, I want to talk so much. Can I have you back on, Lou? Can we
Please,
do
it'd
this
be my
again?
delight. And
Because we didn't even get into like the horror movies that you're a
I'll
large
bring the
part of.
bourbon. And it'll be from Kentucky. Thank you.
Lew Temple, thank you so much. I'm done with my drink, but I will cheers you with my bottle.
Cheers.
All
Cheers.
right, brother.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl and Tom Brady victory.
All right. Thanks, Lou.
All right.